Since September 2020, I have lost somewhere in the region of 70 to 80 kilograms. Going from a guy who was at one point 135 kilograms to a point where I've now taken part in 2 photo shoots, with my third one coming up in 8 weeks. I've also got my plans for my first physique competition in 2027, and alongside that I have coached clients into photo shoot shape as well. So why did it take me so long to get the physique and the body that I wanted? I would lose a certain amount of weight, I'd get to a certain point, then I would put it all back on, rinse and repeat, year after year. So if you're also somebody who doesn't necessarily struggle with getting the initial weight off, but your main issues are, number one, how to keep it off and how to not put it back on, then in this video I'm going to be covering exactly why you yo-yo diet, why you can never seem to keep the weight off and go beyond that, and how you can actually fix those issues. Number one, jumping to conclusions. One of the biggest things that I always used to struggle with was seeing beyond whatever the next day brought me. If my scale weight didn't go down in a day, I was, oh my god, my scale weight hasn't went down, right, I need to eat less, right, I need to do more cardio, or what's the fucking point if I'm doing all this and my scale weight isn't coming down? I was so reactive. So if you are also in that same boat, what I need you to start doing, and we're going to cover scale weight in more specific detail later in the video, I need you to be able to try and remove the emotion and try and add in more logic, and essentially just be able to go, well, do you know what, this has happened today, but to be fair, that happened yesterday, or that happened yesterday, or really importantly, you just follow the process, because you are going to have some days where it feels like you do everything right and you don't get that result the next day that you wanted. Stick to the plan. If it's going week after week after week, month after month, and you're still not seeing the changes and the results that you want, then yeah, maybe it's time to look at what you're doing. Number two, never realizing what got me from A to B might not be what gets me from B to C. For genuinely the best part of 2 years, I could not get out of the category of 135 kilograms and 111 kilograms. I was stuck between there for about 24 months. I had no issues getting that initial weight off. It would fly off, but then I would get to that point and it would start to slow down a little bit, and I would get a bit disheartened, and I'd be like, oh wow, why is it not working? Why is it not changing? And then I would give up. Now, I know in the previous point I spoke about one of the biggest issues is when you are too reactive and you're trying to change everything. However, in that longer term, once you've seen some initial results, you are obviously going to have to get to a point where you change the plan to adapt to how your body has adapted. Somebody who's at 110 kilograms and they want to drop to 95 kilograms, they're going to go into a certain calorie deficit with certain targets across the board. If that person then gets to that 95 kilograms and they then want to get down to 82, they're probably going to have to either eat less food, do more cardio, increase their steps. What you need to see is that if you're constantly getting to a point, a certain weight category, a certain size category, and you can never get past that point, just ask yourself, have you actually looked at what you're doing at that stage, and have you maybe just adapted it? Have you maybe changed it? Because your body's adapted, your body's changed, you need to change the plan to go in line with that, and you will begin to see that result that you always get. You'll begin to see it continue past the point where you've usually gotten stuck. Number three, going from Mr. I've got a plan Monday, Friday to Mr. I'm just going to relax at the weekend. I'm going to give you an example. Monday, Friday, you train at the gym 3 times. You get up at 6 a.m, you're in the gym for 7 a.m, you do your session by 8 o'clock, you come home, you have your breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you do your steps. That's your Monday, Friday. You're in your calorie deficit. You're either tracking your food or you're prepping your food, you're cooking it pretty fresh. Either way, you're in a pretty solid spot. Then it gets to Friday and you're off work. You've got the weekend to chill. You don't have any food prepped. You probably don't have anything in the kitchen because the food that you bought on your food shop on Sunday has now finished. You've done your gym sessions for the week. So now you're sitting there thinking, time to relax. So then you lie in on the Saturday and you don't really have a very similar breakfast. Potentially you even skip breakfast, and then you get a bit snacky on the Saturday afternoon. So you start going into the snack cupboards a bit more than you were during Monday, Friday. You've already done your gym sessions, so you're not thinking about being active as much. So your steps target that you were so focused on hitting Monday, Friday, you stop hitting it. It gets to Sunday, it's a relaxation day. Yeah, you might do your meal prep, but outside of that, you're probably not going to be that active. You're probably going to have a quite chill Sunday because you're ready to get back to it on the Monday. On the face of it, you've not done anything wrong over the weekend. You've not went out and drank a load of shit. You've not went out and ate a load of shit. You've, generally still had a pretty casual weekend. But you get to the Monday and your scale weight is spiked up by a kilogram, 2 kilograms even, and you're fuming. It's because you lost all sense of structure. You didn't have to do the 7 a.m. gym sessions on the Saturday and Sunday, but you should have went for the morning walk. You didn't have to eat the same 3 meals, but you probably should have carried on eating the same breakfast because it gives you that sense of structure. Monday, Friday is a certain level of structure. You don't even need to have that Saturday, Sunday. You just need to stop going Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe make it Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of a sudden, when you get to the Sunday, you've got less work then on the Monday to get back to where you were. Simple as that. Number 4, not knowing the difference between necessary sacrifice and unnecessary sacrifice. One of the biggest issues that I always used to have with my all or nothing mindset is I would have the perception that for me to be able to see the progress, both the short term and the long term, I would need to basically be a fucking saint. I would need to eat completely clean. I would need to eat completely good, whatever the fuck that means. I couldn't miss a session. I had to hit all my cardio. I could never miss a day of steps. I could do all that. It was not realistic. I wasn't a professional bodybuilder, so I don't know why I was trying to treat myself like one. So I had set such outrageously high standards that as soon as there was a day where I went over my calories, or I missed my steps, or I missed a gym session, or my scale weight went up, what's the fucking point? I'm just going to give this up. No. However, at the same spot, we live in an era, a time on social media where there's a lot about balance and don't restrict yourself, and it's all about loving your body no matter what. And my answer to that is you do need to have some sacrifice. A really good saying is increase your sacrifice or reduce your goals. You need to understand that the goal and the thing that you want to achieve is going to require a certain level of sacrifice. Now, if your goal is simply just to drop a couple of kilograms and just feel a tiny bit better, you probably don't really need to sacrifice that much. You can probably get by with doing exactly what you're doing just now, but just walk a little bit more and just eat a little bit less food. However, if your goals are beyond that, if your goals are to truly get to a stage of lean that you've never been before, if your goals are to get to a stage of body confidence and visual look that you've always dreamed of having, that you're quite a bit away from right now, that's going to require a bit of sacrifice. You don't have to act like a drill sergeant to yourself and expect that you're going to be perfect every single day, but you need to understand that there are going to have to be a bit of sacrifices for you to achieve the goals that you want. You don't need to stick to the unnecessary sacrifice, but if you can't commit to necessary sacrifice, you just are not going to achieve what you want. Number 5, and one that is not spoken about nearly enough, I was never thinking about the long term of what was going to happen after the diet. I spent years as the guy just trying to lose weight. I'm just going to get to that weight. I'm just going to get to that point and everything will take care of itself. But that was another one of my issues because I got bored of the months and years of constantly just trying to lose that bit more weight. I just need to lose a bit of weight. At the end of the day, fat loss and getting lean is not fun. We all like to eat more food. Being in a calorie deficit is not sexy. However, one of the best things that ever happened to me was when I eventually got to my point of lean that I wanted to get to, where I'd done my photo shoot in 2024. And I actually then went into a period of eating more food. Now, it's not just I went into a bulk, but it was actually I gave my body a chance to experience eating more food, to actually focus on building more muscle. Because you want a lean, muscular body. Girls, you want the smaller waist and the bigger bum. You're going to have more muscle mass. Imagine if I told you right now, you've got 60 weeks until the end of your diet. We're going to look to average a drop of X amount per week, which should mean that by that point in 16 weeks, we are weighing X amount. Great. That's exciting. And then that's going to be us finished. We're not going to think about it again. Okay. However, what if I change that to, okay, so at the end of the 16 weeks when we expect you to be at X amount of weight, what we're going to do is we're actually going to reverse out of that and we're going to actually slowly build your food up. So within a few weeks of that, your food will likely be up from this point where you finish the diet up to that amount of food there. Oh my God, really? And then we're going to go into a gaining phase and we're going to show you how to do that at that point. But as of right now, let's smash out the rest of this diet and know that the increased food is coming. All of a sudden, you get this feeling of, oh my God, it's not far away. Because at the end of the day, we all want to eat more food. From building muscle, from our fitness, from performance aesthetic, mood aesthetic, every single thing will generally be improved when you've got more food. Realistically, the only thing that is improved by eating less food is your body composition, is your figure, which FYI is totally sound when you're going for that physique goal, when you're on a diet, a fat loss phase, a prep, whatever it may be. But you want more food. Your body wants more food. And if I was to tell you when you finish this next diet phase, you're going to get more food, you're going to actually be shown how to actually go into a period of eating more food longer term, I bet you would stick to it more. So if you're somebody who always struggles with the motivation to keep going, remember, you need to think about the long term, what's coming after the diet. Use that as your motivation, as your golden star. Number 6, please hear me when I say this. I mentioned it earlier in the video. Stop focusing on just the scale weight. The amount of factors that can impact scale weight day to day, your salt intake, your water intake, your carbohydrate intake, your caloric intake, what time of the day you ate your last meal, have you been to the toilet yet, what time of the month is it on, did you have different kinds of food yesterday? So many different things can impact your scale weight. I need you to see that focusing on your scale weight day to day is probably one of the dumbest things you can ever do. With all of my one-to-one clients in their tracker, we never look at the scale weight day to day. Yeah, we can see it, but we you're looking at it week to week, because your scale weight might jump up 0.6 kilograms overnight, and then it might drop a kilogram, and then it might go up 0.3, and then it might come down 0.2. However, there is always going to be the days of spiking down or up. We need to look at the average. That is the thing that's going to be judging how your scale weight is actually moving. What you need to start doing is, when you weigh yourself in the morning, not literally have a bit of paper there, but you almost want to have a mental checklist in your head. So when you step on that scale and you look at it and it says whatever weight it is, right, okay, that weight, to be fair, I ate that a bit later last night. I didn't eat my last meal until 9 p.m. last night. It's currently 6:30. It's only been 9.5 hours. My body's just not had enough time to digest the food. To be fair as well, I had a bit more carbohydrates, and for every 1 gram of carb, my body holds about 3 to 4 grams of water. So that's really going to be holding more water. To be fair, I did have more salt in my dinner when I was cooking it, so that's a bit more water as well. To be fair, my time of the month is expected next week. Right, all of a sudden, that there is 4 reasons why your scale weight has probably went up. Imagine if you could be reminded of that every single time. You can do that. You can remind yourself, if you start to think about the scale weight as it's just a number day to day. I mean, it's just a number in general, but especially day to day, it's just a number. Stop focusing on the scale weight day to day, because all the time, for years, I would let that scale weight determine my mood, whether I was going to be good that day, whether I was just going to give up. It fucked me for so long. Stop letting the scale weight affect you mentally, short term and long term. Yo, what's going on? So I just realised whilst editing this video that the audio cut out right in the last couple of minutes. So essentially, to summarise this video, I spent the best part of half a decade yo-yo dieting, losing weight, putting it back on, never having the confidence that I was not only going to drop weight and drop body fat, but I was ever going to get that physique that I wanted. Because at the end of the day, I know that you don't just want to lose weight. I know that deep down you want to have that lean, muscular body where people look at you and they go, that guy's in shape, or that girl's in shape. It takes overcoming all of these factors that I spoke about. It takes knowing what to do in the moment, but being able to stick to the plan. The biggest thing that I would say to all of you right now, if you're struggling with the yo-yo dieting, if you know how to lose weight, you've done it already, potentially you're currently already doing it and you don't want to fall into the same traps, follow these 6 steps from this video. If you can use what I've spoken about in the last 10 minutes of this video, covering these 6 different things, if you can put them into your plan of action, into your day-to-day, into your short term, into your long term, you will not only drop the body fat that you want, you will keep the body fat off. You will actually have an idea of what the fuck is going to happen after. And 6, 12, 18, 24 months down the line, you are going to have the physique that you want, and you will no longer be that person just trying to lose a little bit more weight. I am currently in the middle of my own photo shoot prep just now. I'm also going to be planning on my first physique competition next year. So if you would like to not only be educated on more things around yo-yo dieting, nutrition, training, but also keep up to date with what's going on with myself, please do drop me a little subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon.